Welcome to our video part 19. In this video we will show you how to fit the valve body assembly and a deep cast aluminium oil pan with all its accessories and fittings. The tools that we'll be needing is a flat blade screwdriver or a Phillips head, depending on what size filter to valve body screws you have, a ratchet, a short extension, a 7/16 socket or an 11mm type socket, depending what sort of tools you have in your toolbox, a set of pliers that open inside out, and a large hammer. First, we'll start off with installing our selector seal. You can lubricate your seal a little bit with a bit of grease to hold the internal spring in place. Gently place your seal over the position and tap it in with a hammer. Take caution not to use a small ball point hammer. Last thing we want to do is ding or put slight dings or indignations in the actual seal. So we want the seal to go in home flush. Then we can turn our transmission over and start to fit our valve body assembly. Prior to fitting our valve body assembly, we need to install our accumulator piston. Gently tap in the piston, as this holds two sealing rings on it. We can grab our pliers and make sure the piston is all the way home. In this modification, there is no need to put an accumulator piston spring. We simply leave that out. We can then go ahead and grab our valve body assembly. When fitting our valve body onto our transmission, there's two things you need to look out for. Number one is making sure that your parking rod feeds through the inside to the back of the casing, and make sure that your selector goes through the selector seal neatly without doing any damage to our seal. Once our valve body is located flush onto the casing, we can go ahead and fit our 10 valve body to case bolts. These are all the same length and they're 7/16 in size or 11mm. This valve body that we're using is custom made to suit our 600 horsepower rebuild. When putting this valve body together, we have taken into consideration the weight of the vehicle, the usage of the vehicle, given it's going to be street and track, the horsepower our engine will be output, and how aggressive our customer wanted it to shift. This valve body is a reverse manual full shift valve body. All our valve bodies we build are a case-to-case basis, depending on the criteria as stated earlier, with the weight of car, the usage of the vehicle, type of horsepower, naturally aspirated, if it's assisted with turbocharge or supercharge or nitrous, and how aggressive our customer wants it to shift, whether it's a Sunday driver to your all-out race car. Okay, once all your valve body to case bolts are screwed in and you're up to the final torquing stage, you can, if you have got a torque wrench, we recommend to torque them at 100 inch-pounds. Just double check them going around. Do not over tighten them, as this will cause warpage to your valve body. If you haven't got a torque wrench, you can nip them up until they go home and then a little bit more. Next in line is the installation of the oil filter and its accessories. When fitting a deep pan, it's necessary to install a spacer from the valve body to the filter. This way it extends the filter deep into the pan. First we install our spacer. On this particular spacer there's an O-ring which acts as a sealant. Make sure that side with the O-ring goes on our valve body side. This will make sure we don't get any air leaks. We can then grab our oil filter, make sure the holes line up. When tightening our screws through our filter onto a valve body, there's no need to really over tighten them. Just tighten them until they go home, nipped up and just a little bit more. There are two types of oil filters which you can use. There's a single hole, which we're using in this type of transmission, and there is a two-hole filter. If your filter's got the two holes, that's not a problem. You can fit them on either transmissions, early and late. If you have a single hole, it can only fit on the later model transmissions. To identify whether your transmission is an early or a late, the two-hole filter is to suit 62 to 65 model vehicles, or if your transmission has got a rear pump, and from 66 to up, these type of 727s did not have a rear pump, thus they only take the single hole. Once we have secured our oil filter, our spacer onto the valve body, we can go ahead and install our deep pan. With this pan, I will be using a reusable pan gasket. You can use a cork type or a paper type. The reusable ones are quite good because if you need to remove the oil pan to do any adjustments, you can use that pan gasket as its name suggests. With your oil pan kit, you should get all the bolts. They are a longer bolt compared to your stock bolts. You should also get some flat washers or some spring washers to suit. You should also get a drain plug as well. You can go ahead and install all your bolts. If you are running an aftermarket shifter, these are the two bolts that you need to leave loose. Once all your pan to case bolts are in place, torque them down to 150 inch-pounds, or for those who don't have a torque wrench, drive the bolts home until they're flush, nipped up and just a little bit more. You don't want to be over tightening the bolts, especially if you're using a paper or a cork gasket, because you might risk any future leaks. While you're there, insert your drain plug, nip it up all the way home.